Good morning, this is the Breville Barista Touch, model BES880. As you saw in the photos, this is a machine that's in good condition, I would say. It's for a used machine. Obviously it does have the normal wear and tear. Mainly some scratches around the front, some scratches and nicks around the back. But nothing too bad. A little sort of scratch or crack here. But yeah, everything else is pretty good. The machine just had a service yesterday. I had a look at the internals, put it under full pressure, tested the steam, lined the grinder, did all the cleaning cycles, and yeah, it's ticking like new, no issues at all. And in this video, I will be making my latte on it, testing all the features from the grinder to the brewing to the milk. So I'll be making a latte. So firstly, I like to warm up the machine. When you're not making coffee, the machine is actually cold. So I like to warm it up by getting my cup, pressing the brew button, and maybe doing 20 seconds of water output. That usually warms it up pretty nicely. Yeah, that's hot. You can do that once or twice. Once should be enough. Next, I am going to take out the portafilter and dry it. So your machine comes with, I think, 3 baskets. The single, the double, and the double pressurized. This is the double pressurized. This is the double single wall, non-pressurized. This will take 18 grams of ground coffee. So I've got a scale here that I use to measure the input and output. Basically, you want to aim for 18 grams input and 36 gram output in 30 seconds for the double shot. If you don't have a scale, you can still use the machine and learn how to do the right settings. But for me, I think a scale is the easiest way. So firstly, I've got the grind size on number 12. I've calibrated the grinder to grind finer. It used to need to go all the way to grind size 1 or grind size 2 to get this fine of a texture for the coffee. But now with the calibration, hopefully we can get it around grind size 10 to grind size 15. I'm not sure. The only way to know if we have the correct grind size is to make coffee. And what is the correct grind size? The correct grind size is the number or the grind size here that we change on the dial. That gives us coffee that's not too quick, but not too slow. Too quick would be if we make a coffee now and we go 30-second shots. If we get all the way up to here, that's a lot of espresso. That's too long for a shot, and it should be slower than that. If we do a shot, for example, on the other hand, if we do a shot and it's after 30 seconds, it's only giving us a few drops of coffee, very little amount of coffee, then that's too slow. So the right speed should be what gives us about 35 to 40 grams of coffee in the 30-second brew time. And from experience, I know that 35 to 40 grams usually is about here. So about a centimeter high from the base of this cup. But of course we can use the scale to confirm that. Okay, grinding. So the other thing is the grind time. I think we can put it on 18 or something and measure halfway. That's 9 seconds. We got 7, so we might have to increase that. So I'm just resuming from the 18 seconds. Okay, so that's 18 seconds worth. 18 seconds gave us 13.5 grams. So I reckon we should go all the way to 22. Yep, all the way to 22. I use the same machine, so I use the same model, same color, same everything. I use 22 seconds on mine. So what you want to do when you're grinding, stop it about halfway. So if you're doing 22 seconds, stop it at about the 11-second mark. just to press the coffee with the tamper and make space for the next batch. Because otherwise, if you do the entire 18 grams without pressing, without compacting the coffee, it might spill down the sides as you take out the portafilter. So that's another 4 seconds. Now we have how much? 17. Let's increase it by 1 more second. So just so we can have it ready for you when you use the machine. There we go. 18 grams. Once you have the full 18 grams, so hopefully now at the 23 second, if this grind size is correct, hopefully we'll stay at this setting. But if you change the grind size a little bit, by a few numbers, you may have to increase or decrease the grind amount as well. Because if you grind finer, it'll actually take longer to grind because it's more resistance. Anyway, now that you have that 23, it'll stay there. You just grind like half of it, press, grind the other half, and move on with your life. Hopefully it shouldn't take this long. Next, I'm going to spread the coffee with my fingers and then press it. So before you press, you just want to spread the coffee. Make sure it's even so that the pressures are even when you press. That's the rationale behind it. It may be too fine for this coffee, but yeah, I'm just curious. It may be too fine. We may need to increase the grind size a little bit, but that's okay. So once you press, make sure it's, I forgot to say, if you don't have a scale, you can always check the depth of the tamper to check the dose that you have. So we have exactly 18 or 17.8. This is what it looks like. So just as this silver part disappears, that's how you know you have the correct amount of coffee. So silver part disappears. This is what it looks like. And always make sure to clean the edges. Lock it in the middle. I'm going to get my cup here and get rid of this water. You also have a hot water tap to get hot water from. For long black coffee, for tea bags. Personally, I like to use it to add a little bit of water to my cup to help my sugar dissolve. Yeah, it's a nice drinking temperature, so if you make long blacks, this would be very nice. Right, so I'm just going to mix up the sugar. Yeah, so if you add any sugar or sweeteners or syrups, it's recommended you add them before you brew the espresso. So that way, as the espresso comes down, you can see them mix nicely. Well, the rationale is that they mix nicely, and you don't have to stir it too much. Cool. Now I'm going to reset my scale to 0, and then we'll measure the output. So we'll make coffee, we'll see how much comes out in 30 seconds. If it's too little, we increase the grind size. If it's too much, we decrease the grind size. So think of the grind size as amount of coffee coming out. So if you have a large grind size, you have a large amount of coffee coming out into the cup. Vice versa, if you have a very fine, small grind size, you'll have a small amount coming out. I suspect we might have a little amount just because it looks fine. So maybe we'll have to increase the grind size a little bit, but we'll see, we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to pour my milk. Yeah, looking like it's coming out slowly. And from one side, it'll even out soon. Oh no. Yeah, we'll definitely have to grind a bit larger. So I'll stop it there. I can get rid of this coffee. It's 10 grams of espresso, probably the most strongest espresso you'll ever have if you drink this. It smells very strong, so I'm not gonna drink it on its own. I'm just gonna make another shot. Next, I'll be trying grind size 15. There we go. Quickly give give it a good wipe. We'll skip the flushing, we don't have time to flush. We will just increase the grind size. So we're using 12, let's use 16, see what happens. So that's a little bit larger, hopefully we can work with that. I'll grab some more beans. Just give it another purge. So grinding about 3 seconds just to get rid of the old grind size. Making espresso is a bit of work at first, but once you get to the right settings and everything, it's really easy, really worth it, I would say. Okay. I'm not going to speak as much, now you know the basics. "21 seconds. First dose, 9.5. Looking good. Okay, so add 1 more second, so 22 seconds now, because we have 16.5. 18 grams, amazing. So after you reach the 18 grams, you'll notice it's right level, so right up there, level with the rim of the basket. And then, as I said before, once you tamp, it should be same depth as the silver pot. Not much more, not much lower. Lock that in the middle again. And we'll do the same things. So 30 seconds, let's have a go. That's looking better. So it's flowing from both spouts now. Looks like it's flowing at a reasonable speed. If it's the correct speed, maybe. We'll wait and see. I'd say it's pretty close. What do we get? We get 30 grams from that. That's still good. Better than before, for sure. So 30 grams, I'm probably saying it's better off being a bit larger. So we increased the grind size by 3 numbers, but by 4 numbers. And it gave us 27. So I reckon 1 or 2 numbers more. So I'm not going to make a coffee, but I'm just going to advise you, if you're using similar beans as myself, I'm using the the Aldi dark beans. If you're using that sort of bean, I guess, yeah, grind size 18 will probably work for you. So grind size 18 will give you hopefully 35 grams of coffee. Also make sure you use good beans. If you're using bad quality beans, low quality beans, you'll struggle with grind size, because if you buy it from supermarket, most of the supermarket beans, except maybe Aldi and another one, most of the supermarket beans are actually old and stale by the time you buy them. So what would happen is you would grind finer and finer, and you notice the coffee doesn't have any crema, still flowing very quickly, and you're just struggling. So that's why I would advise you either get freshly roasted coffee, or just stick to a good quality supermarket brand like the Aldi one I usually recommend. Yeah, that's probably a strong coffee, that's fine. Yeah, grind size 18. I'm gonna purge it for you. So just that next time you make coffee, it's not the fine grind size that I was using before. Yeah, and I'll do the cleaning later, but for now, let's do the purge. So, sorry, purging the group head. That's gonna clean the shower screen from any coffee grounds. And also, if you put the portafilter underneath, it's also gonna flush the portafilter. Try and keep the machine nice and dry so it stays happy and looking good. Next, we will do some frothing. So I've got my jug here, about halfway with cold. I'm using oat milk today. Never used oat milk with the automatic function of this machine, so it's interesting to see what happens. Make sure you put the jug on the sensor, the temperature sensor. You can select the settings here. I forgot to speak about the menu. You can actually make your own drinks and settings on the menu. So you can change the length of time for the shot. You can add any hot water added. If you put your cup here, that hot water actually goes to the cup without moving the cup. It's pointed at it from like this angle. With the milk, you have the settings of the temperature and the froth level. I like to keep it on 60 degrees with the froth. If I'm using an automatic, let's try number 5. I'm not sure what will happen, but let's try actually number 6, a bit higher. Trying to get that cappuccino. I said latte in the beginning, but we'll just make a cappuccino. It's more froth. Slowly getting warmer. It's actually risen up quite a lot, so it's given it a lot of foam with that automatic function. Air pump it's got inside. It varies the air pump duration. If you add more froth, it'll pump more air to give it more froth. So it's actually almost doubled in size. That's amazing. Had no idea that it could do that with oat milk. So yeah, I would maybe reduce the foam because we got so much. One of the nicest things about this machine, and one of the reasons why I use the Barista Touch, is when you finish frothing the milk, super easy to clean. It's recommended you get a wet towel and wipe the wand that way. Or if you don't have a wet towel, if you just have a damp tissue or whatever you were using before to wipe the machine, you can use that tissue to wipe it off. Because it's an insulated wand and it's not hot, it's just warm. It's 2 layers, so the inside layer gets really hot with the steam going through it. The outer layer is insulated with a bit of a gap, so it's actually not that hot and it cleans off the milk quite easily. The only disadvantage is when you push it down, it'll do an auto cleaning, so it'll purge some air. So sometimes it makes a bit of a mess. It's the same thing on mine and the other machines that I've used in the past of this model. Yeah, it just makes a bit of a mess when you push it down. It purges water and air to clean that tip. Obviously that's good for it, otherwise if you don't clean it, it might block. So it'll actually warn you if you finish the milk and not push it down, it'll warn you because it really needs to clean, otherwise it'll just have milk sitting in the holes, basically hardening and acting as a plug. Not good for your coffee, not good for your machine. Sorry, not good for your machine at all. So, got a lot of foam here. Too much foam if I'm being honest. I'll probably use foam level number 2 or number 3 next time. But basically what I'm doing here, I'm knocking it on the counter to break any of the big air bubbles. And then swirling around to mix it up and make it nice and even. Okay, no latte art for me today, unfortunately. We got a large amount of foam, so it's not the fine milk I was hoping for. But again, this is oat milk. behaves differently to cow's milk. I forgot to mention, you can also use the wand at on the manual setting. If you just keep it up and press manual, it'll just froth. So sorry, it'll just start steaming. So you can grab the jug and control it just like a barista. And yeah, obviously it's manual, so there's no air pump used or temperature shown on the display. That's only when you put it down on this temperature sensor. That's on the automatic setting. That's when you can see the temperature and select the froth level. But anyway, yeah, now you can know what level of foam it can give you, so you can adjust it more or less as you prefer. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate, and I will see you soon. Have a good day.